Welcome to TradeBlocked, the Dynasty Football trade show on Club Fantasy, where we break down trades, strategies, and moves to take your Dynasty team to the next level. Tonight, we've got a brand new segment. We're calling it the Dartboard Dynasty Hour. We've got a wheel. We'll spin the wheel, give our takes on whichever player the wheel lands on. We'll look at their current Dynasty value, have a little conversation about their potential long-term value, and where we would stack them up on the trade market. So, if you're looking to build a Dynasty powerhouse or just curious about our general player trade values this evening, stick around because we're talking Dynasty. We're going to let the wheel of Dynasty reign, and we're getting trade blocked. Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to TradeBlocked, brought to you by Club Fantasy. We've got a fun show this evening. We're just going to be doing lightning quick, hitting the wheel, talking Dynasty values here for a bunch of different players tonight. Before we get into it, though, I've got to introduce my co-hosts who are definitely going to carry the show this evening. I want to start with the man at the bottom of the screen, Joel Worth. Joel, how are you doing this evening?
As we were talking before the show, I've been spending the evening fixing my water, or attempting to fix my water softener. I don't even know if I've been successful or not. So yeah, it hasn't been the best night, but apparently it's Michael Penix season, so that's fun.
I love it. I love it. And the guy to the right of me on the screen here, Hoove, how are you doing this evening?
Looking for some hot stuff, baby, this evening. Yeah, come on. I'm feeling it. We got a good episode. We're going out with a banger end of season, last episode of the season from your boys over here at TradeBlocked. But we're going out with a good one. We're bringing out the wheel. We got all the people that we didn't break down, maybe even a few people that we probably did talk about once or twice on the show throughout the season. We talked about however many people. So it's going to be hard to not bring up one or two that we have already done. But we're going to have fun tonight. We're going to go out with a bang. And then next season, we're going to be back and ready to go. And we're going to be completely fueled up and ready to go for 2025 for the draft. How you doing?
Is it not just wild that we're at the point already that it's like we're in the semifinal week? It's crazy. It's just,
we were just saying
the season just go faster and faster.
It always goes through or goes by in such a blur every single season.
I'm just this season has been so weird for me because I feel like this has been like the season I've dived into doing content the hardest in the history of me doing content. And there's been so many Sundays that like I just have to use Sundays as my nap day, and I'll end up sleeping throughout the 12 o'clock and 4 o'clock slate, and I wake up for the Sunday game. I'm like, wow. I write about football. I talk about football all week. I don't even watch it for damn sake. So, yeah, I'm going to have to slow down a little bit, but this has been such a crazy year. And I was talking to Andrew Hall over on B-Sky earlier today. And for all the people out there that are kind of burnt out with fantasy, with the season and how crazy things have been this year and how fast things have gone, 2025 can be a great opportunity to kind of refresh and start things from scratch. It's like, things have been so wonky, and we always talk about it with our promo from Dynasty Nerds. Like, things are always changing in the Dynasty landscape. So, maybe 2025 is a great opportunity to start fresh, get rid of some of those leagues. There's people always looking to orphan some teams. So maybe get rid of some of those old teams, get ready to build a new dynasty. So that's my advice of the night.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Just because we're doing something special tonight, too, doesn't mean that we're not here to answer your specific Dynasty trade questions. So make sure you're throwing those out in the chat this evening. And those of you with the super chat, we'll get to you first and foremost. We'll kick you to the front of the line, answer those questions. But yeah, feel free to jump in the chat all evening here. We will be sure to answer those questions first before we get into our own Dynasty takes with the Wheel of Destiny here.
The Wheel of Destiny. I like that one better.
I thought you were going to say the Wheel of Destiny. I'm like, nice,
I didn't even say that, but I love
the Wheel of Destiny. That's what we're doing from now on. 100%. No more. Wheel of Dynasty. Wheel of Destiny.
Love it.
All
Love
right.
it.
So let's just introduce our audience to the wheel for tonight. So do I have to pull you guys over to the side? Yeah, I do. All right. So we have over 50. It's 50 various athletes, like 10 quarterbacks, 15 wide receivers, 15 running backs, 10 tight ends, and then a few various questions holiday related that we're going to do. We're going to spin the wheel, and whoever we land on, we're going to break down the value on Dynasty Nerds between the top 5 and the top 5 below them. Are we cool?
Cool.
Cool. Before we get into
Wheel
that,
of Destiny.
Before we get into the Wheel of Destiny, let's jump over to the comment section real quick and answer a few comments over there. We got Caesar in the chat right away. Perfect timing for my super flex dynasty teams. They all had quarterbacks go down this week, and they all roster Penix Jr. Great timing. And Anthony also asks thoughts on Falcons with Penix. I got Bijan. Let's start out tonight with talking about Michael Penix Jr. Get a little warm up in.
Can't get worse, right? I mean, they've been a disaster the last month and a half. So I don't know how it could be worse. So yeah, even if he's, not great, it's still a pretty solid option because he's gonna have weapons. He's gonna have tools. I think it's good for Bijan if they can get a passing game going. That's not just constant turnovers. So yeah, I can't think this is anything but a positive. I'm kind of surprised they actually made the move, but I think it's the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
They almost had to, especially when they went into this game knowing that Kirk had to turn the passing game around this game, and if he didn't, he was going to lose the starting job. And the fact that it was not great, you knew that it was going to be very quick. And I'm glad that they finally did it. We've been looking for Michael Penix for weeks now. I don't know necessarily on a fantasy lens how much he's going to help you the rest of the season. If you're in and you're in a tight spot and you need him, obviously if you were probably going to roll out with Kirk, there's a good chance that you're going to feel a lot better rolling out with Penix, at least with a different opportunity. Someone with at least some upside. You know what the ceiling is for Kirk. You don't know what the ceiling is necessarily for Penix yet. So I'm not going to jump the gun and say anything about Penix at this point, but if you're needing a quarterback and you're looking at a few of the lesser tier guys, might not be worth a shot. Might be worth a shot.
Yeah, you have to hope that with him sitting for so many weeks here, maybe he was able to pick up some things and have a little bit smoother transition into the NFL than getting thrown in here week one. But yeah, you got to love the weapons that he has there on offense to work with. And I think it's great for Bijan. I mean, even they're going to utilize him so much. You just take the pressure off of Penix, just having the run game established. So Bijan's going to be fine. It'll be more interesting to see how Drake London and Mooney and Pitts are all affected by this change.
Caesar also says, I have Penix. Waiver options are Mac Jones and DTR. Gino is out. I may need one on waivers. I would definitely want Penix over Howell. Mac Jones, he's bringing the most out of the people around him, but I don't necessarily want Mac Jones right now if I don't have to. So, yeah, I'd probably still say Penix out of this group right now.
Yeah, DTR is a non-starter. I mean, he doesn't I would rather start a fourth wide receiver in my super flex and start DTR. So Jones I could see, but yeah, I'd much rather start Penix if I had that option.
Mm-hmm. In agreement.
Absolutely. So I'm not going to jump the gun. I've been in on Michael Penix. I've been very out on Michael Penix, and I don't really want to plant my flag quite yet because I've been on both sides. So let's jump into our first one for the wheel tonight. Oh, I'm kind of hoping that we get one of the holiday ones just to get it out of the way, ease it up a little bit. But let's look at it. Let's take a look. What do we got? Please. No way.
Good one.
This is such a good one to start it out.
Uh,
David Montgomery. RIP to one of my favorite running backs in the league. One of my favorite dynasty assets. Someone that I've talked about heavily on the show. Someone I've been pushing for a David Montgomery show all season. So it's about time that we finally have a David Montgomery segment dedicated to him. Guys, Dustin, can you pull up the Dynasty Nerds rankings for David Montgomery right now?
absolutely.
Beautiful.
Oh, where are we here?
Higher than that.
Let's say it's got to be higher than that. There we go.
There he is.
All right, so he's currently listed as RB15 on Dynasty Nerds.
Who are the five above him?
You've got Christian McCaffrey at 14, Kamara at 13, Bucky Irving at 12, Joe Mixon at 11, and Josh Jacobs at 10.
Bucky Irving is that
Those
high?
are your 5 running backs above Montgomery.
Bucky Irving's that high? I must have missed that in the last few weeks. Really? Okay. That seems crazy to me. Even with the knee injury, like obviously right now, David Montgomery, he's not going to be helping you like more than a lot of these guys on this list. But David Montgomery is someone that I still feel very confident about. I don't know about CMC. Like I think that maybe we have to start out next season with like a whole CMC episode dedicated to it. Because that's going to be another big question mark going into the next offseason, whether now people are considering him injury prone or what. But David Montgomery is still going to be someone that I'm probably going to be buying the dip on a lot next offseason. I was kind of worried that his value was going to be way too high with everyone knowing how good the Lions team and Lions offense is. Maybe this knee injury will kind of pump the brakes and people will more put Gibbs into that RB1 solidified role. So maybe that opens up some gap for David Montgomery to buy.
Yeah. Well, I guess the question is there any of these guys that are above him? Would you take Montgomery over them?
Nixon, Jacobs, everyone else, no. And that sucks to say about CMC as a 49ers fan, but that's where I'm at.
Joel?
So you would take Montgomery over all those guys except for I'm taking all those guys over Montgomery.
Even Irving?
Yeah. They're not going to make a change. Like they're going to go into next year with Rashad White and Bucky Irving and call it a day. They're not going anywhere. Like they may draft a third. They got Sean Tucker. They love Sean Tucker. So I don't think they're going to do anything. So I think Bucky's going to have the lead role next year there. He's been pretty good. Montgomery's going to be 28 next year. I just don't think if you're playing, are there non-PPR dynasty leagues?
I know. That's a great question.
If you're in a home league and you're in a standard scoring league, I think he's a really good option because he's going to score a lot of touchdowns in that offense, but just doesn't get a lot of receiving work. He wasn't super efficient this year, like only 4.2 yards per carry. That's not super great. I just don't think he has any trade value. And I think that's if you're buying him with the intent of just letting him age off your roster. And that's fine if that's what you want. If you just want an RB2 that you can plug in for the next couple of years, that's probably fine. But I don't think he's going to have any real demand.
That's kind of where I'm at. Like I just need for my running backs and the way I want to build my rosters is I want to build them primarily through wide receivers. I'm not going to let this year sway me that I'm just going to go heavy on wide receivers. And then I'm going to find running backs that I can plug in these spots. And I don't want to like build a bunch of draft capital with these running backs unless it's someone like crazy good. So David Montgomery is someone that I'm looking at like, there's going to be a significant gap probably between him and like Kamara just because of the knee injury maybe. It depends on how good Kendra Miller really looks throughout the rest of the year, and how much opportunity that they give him with Kamara too. So like I can understand why these guys are going ahead of Montgomery. Me personally, I'm probably gonna be the guy that waits a little bit and just buys Montgomery after that round.
All right. Well, let's take a look at the 5 following Montgomery here. Maybe that'll change your guys' mind a little bit. So coming in at 16, you got Derrick Henry. 17 is Jonathan Brooks. 18, Tyrone Tracy. 19, Travis Etienne. And 20, Isaiah Pacheco. Any of these guys that interest you more than Montgomery there at 15?
I want to say Pacheco, and I will.
Pacheco
And
for sure.
What is keeping them comfortable with having Pacheco as the main guy in that room next year? And I've been the guy that was like super big on Pacheco this year. So this is the injury affecting thing is 100%. Like they cut Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They have like another opening in that running back room. They've been trying different pieces. I could see them drafting someone in like the 3rd round this year.
I can see it, but are you going to trust that guy? I'd still rather have Pacheco. The disrespect for Tyrone Tracy is just absolutely palpable. Running back 18, that's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
I still would take Montgomery over Tracy and Henry. Yeah, it's honestly the same thing that you're asking with Henry that you're saying with Montgomery for me. Like if I'm going to wait and I'm just going to draft a running back or go after a running back that's older just to plug in to help my dynasty team, that's the perfect guy I'm looking for. Just David Montgomery, Derrick Henry, right in that tier. So either or, it's a dime a piece for me. I can't be mad about either.
So the way I'm going to look at that, like, I'm fine with those guys as like RB3s, but I'm not comfortable if those guys are my RB2s. At their age, it's just I want somebody better than that. Maybe not better, but more reliable, let's say.
I can't scroll up, but I'm trying to think about who is a young aspiring talent that's even in like a backup role that you can look at and be like, all right, well, maybe I could break that down for a piece like that. Like even Marshawn Lloyd out on who I was big on this year. Josh Jacobs isn't going anywhere. Like there's no 2s. Like I really like Ray Davis. I'm not worried about James Cook like that. So, oh man, it's hard to say like that these guys aren't very good RB1s in their right mind.
Honestly, if you bring up Marshawn Lloyd, I just kind of shit on Montgomery and Derrick Henry. I would be trying to flip Marshawn Lloyd for a guy like Kamara, Montgomery, Henry, a guy who I know is going to give me some production. I just don't think it's going to happen with Marshawn Lloyd.
You're not getting anything for him. I've tried. People are out. People are done. But
that's fair.
I think we can be done with David Montgomery because he is done for the rest of the season. So let's move on to another one. All right. So you pull that down.
Come on, holiday question.
All right. Holiday question. Come on. Ooh, that was close. Chris. Is it? Yeah, it's Chris Godwin. We got a Chris Godwin.
Right. All right. So let me find Chris Godwin here. Oops. Well, now
he's higher than that for sure. If we're looking at Jalen Polk, we're way too low. That's my new.
Are you sure about that?
That's my new. Yes, absolutely. He's got to be around.
There he is. All right.
He is. Yeah.
So all right. So he's currently wide receiver 38. Which
what?
I'll say I'm pretty surprised at.
Come on,
so
nerds.
Yeah, I look and see Leggett and Pearsall ahead of him, and I go, what? Oh, all right, sure.
Call yourself
sure.
nerds. All right.
All right. So
Let's
yeah,
look at the
we've
five.
got Leggett, Pearsall, Cooper Kupp, Jamison Williams, and Terry McLaurin are the 5 wide receivers right above Godwin. You take Godwin over all of them, or no?
Maybe
Go you
Terry.
go
I'd
first.
have him pretty close to Terry, but yeah, easily over the other 4 for sure.
Thank you. Thank you. That's exactly what I was going with. I was hoping for that. Pearsall, like there's a I would understand why someone could talk themselves into Pearsall. Don't do that. Don't talk yourself into that. Go with Godwin. All right. Go with Terry.
Go with Godwin.
Don't go with Jamison Williams. For the love of God, don't do that. That's probably no. I think Leggett probably is the worst option out of this tier. But Jamison Williams, that's just signing up for a headache, and I got migraines, so I don't sign up for headaches. So I stay away from Jamison Williams. But that's probably where I'm at with this tier. It's Terry, and I'd agree with Joel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're all in agreement there. So let's take a look at the 5 guys right below him. We've got Josh Downs, Keon Coleman, Mike Evans, Khalil Shakir, and Adonai Mitchell.
All right, before
Any
we get
of
into
these 5s?
before we get into this, I'll answer because we can answer it for Josh Downs and Adonai Mitchell. I said this on B-Sky. Can you guys name 5 quarterbacks that are projected to start in 2025 that are worse than Anthony Richardson? I can't. I don't know if I can name 3. I know, that's the thing. Okay, and that's why I have to be out. I have to be out on Josh Downs and Adonai Mitchell. And I literally had to get the pumps braked at the start of the season by Josh and Ryan. They said, "Hoove, calm down." I'm like, all right, let me take another look. And I was like, okay, you guys make a fair point. Like, this probably could take a little bit longer. And then I saw how bad things could fall off. And I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm gonna try to find something else. This is way too big of a project, and I don't see them sticking with Richardson long term. So I think I'm out until they get someone that can actually pass in there.
Let's turn this into teach a man how to fish, or instead of giving him a fish or whatever. If you look at this list and you say, I would rather have Xavier Leggett or Ricky Pearsall or Keon Coleman straight up over Chris Godwin, you fundamentally misunderstand how Dynasty works and how to win at Dynasty Fantasy Football. Because you're not going to win trading proven. Yes, he's old. Yes, he's relatively old. I get it. But he was crazy productive. He was like wide receiver 5 before he got hurt. He's only 29. He's still got a couple of years of like solid production. We don't know where he's going to end up. I think he's going to go back to Tampa, but we'll see. Like, he's still going to be a wildly productive player for the next 2 years, maybe 3 years. And we don't know if Leggett or Pearsall or any of these guys are anything. Honestly, we don't know. Cooper Kupp is borderline dead as it is. He's almost dust right now. Just took a 0 on Thursday, which killed a bunch of my teams. No bitterness there, but I'm just saying. So, yeah, if you're looking at this guy, if you honestly think Chris Godwin is wide receiver 38 behind Xavier Leggett, behind Ricky Pearsall, and just ahead of Keon Coleman and Adonai Mitchell, this is why we're here, people. We're here to help.
That's why we're here.
So,
that's right.
This is why we're here. Just don't fall for that trap. Chris Godwin is still going to be a good player for the next 2 to 3 years. Is it going to be tough to move? Sure, but you're going to have better opportunities to, like, even if you're a non-contending team and you say, okay, I probably can't contend in the next 2 years, wait to sell him until next year when he's producing. Wait to sell him until the spring when he signs with a new team, and all of a sudden he's got, he goes to the Buffalo Bills or something like that, and then shit, everybody wants him. Just be patient. Understand when the sell windows are, and understand that he's still a better bet to be. Like, I would bet that he is probably more. And this is not digging on Leggett or Pearsall or anything. It's just more likely that he will be more productive in his next 2 years than Leggett or Pearsall will be for their entire career. That's just a fact.
That's just a fact. I don't know if that's a fact, but that's very promising.
It's a probability. It's a probability. It's better. A high probability.
That's better. Yeah. That's where we're going with that. I agree. I can agree with that.
Mm-hmm. And if anything, this is just telling me that I need to go out and trade for some Godwin here before his value starts to increase. Because, man, if I could trade away some of those other players and get Godwin plus maybe in return, I mean, sign me up all day.
Yeah, even if he goes back to the Bucks, who gives a shit? He can still be good there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he
it's
can
still a great spot.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter as long as he doesn't go to the Giants. He's good. So, and that's what we were saying about T. Higgins. But even T. Higgins with the Bengals can't be good. So, like, I guess we'll see. But back to the wheel. We got 2 down. Let's see if we can find a frickin' holiday question and knock one of those out. All right. Where will the wheel lie? Ooh, that's close.
Is that even a spin?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the move.
Isn't this like Price is Right where it's got to go around once?
Did it go around once?
I don't know.
There's a lot of people on this list. I don't know if it's going to make it around that far. This isn't the sexiest one, so we'll make this one fast for all the viewers out there.
All right.
Pat Freiermuth.
Currently, tight end 19 on Dynasty Nerds. You've got Ben Sinnott, Isaiah Likely, Dallas Goedert, Cole Kmet, and Cade Otton all going ahead of him right now. Is this fair value? Tight end 19, has he fallen that much?
I said it last week on the Cade Otton episode that he's got to be right there next to Cade Otton for me. He's above Cole Kmet. The only reason why I was in on Cole Kmet was because of the regime that they had there. They're bringing everyone out. So I'm out on Cole Kmet, back in on Pat Freiermuth with Russ in the building.
Yeah, I mean, this gets back to the tight end point. Like, if you have a tight end premium and you care about receptions, then Pat Freiermuth is not your guy. He's a bye-week fill-in. That's it. If you are in a standards or a non-tight end premium league where you really care about touchdowns more than anything from your tight end, he's a perfectly serviceable back-end kind of starter because, he's going to get probably 6 touchdowns, and in a non-tight end premium, that's probably just fine. I mean, it's not great. You're probably losing half of your games to your tight end, but to the opposing tight end, but it's fine. You can live with it.
He'll put up 8.
All right.
There's worse that you could get. You could have Kyle Pitts, and
you could have Mike Gesicki.
We could play this game all day. There's worse tight ends out there.
All right. So the question becomes, does Michael Penix unlock Kyle Pitts? Is he the skeleton key that unlocks Kyle Pitts?
I want to be the skeleton from the skeleton key if we keep talking about Kyle Pitts. I'm serious. I'm going to be a skeleton from the skeleton key by the time that Kyle Pitts becomes Kyle Pitts, honestly. Oh, goodness gracious. All right. Should we move on to the next one?
Yes.
Yeah. Not much more to talk about there.
Shoot. Forgot to add it before I spun it. Joe Mixon. Pull up Joe Mixon for me.
He's right above David Montgomery.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Mr. Mixon's at RB11.
Go for the top 3 above him then.
All right. So you got Josh Jacobs, James Cook, Kenneth Walker, Jonathan Taylor.
James Cook, Kenneth Walker, Jonathan Taylor.
And Joe Mixon is 28. That makes a difference.
He'll be 29 by the time the season starts.
Yep.
I'm taking Jacobs above him. I wouldn't take Cook above him, but it's close, but Mixon's age is the only reason why I'm not fully in on him with Jacobs right there. But you gotta like what you've been seeing with Mixon. All these efficiency metrics that people have been saying, throwing out about him for years, and he's not efficient, blah, blah, blah. Well, he's showing how good he can be, when he has a decent offensive line. So I think I'm in on Joe Mixon other than Josh Jacobs here.
Do you guys have any concern, just that he's going to be 29 when the year starts next year? He has been a featured back through most of his career, kind of carrying the bulk of the workload. Do you have any concerns about that amount of workload that he has and maybe starting to tail off a little bit next year, or no?
It depends on who he's paired with for me. If they go after one of these, if they go after one of these Ohio State guys to pair with CJ, then maybe I'm a little more skeptical about Mixon. But if they really punt the ball on getting a running back in there to pair with them, I'm still in.
I mean, who said people complained about his efficiency? He hasn't been efficient this year either. He's the same guy. He's just in a very run-heavy offense with a very good offensive line, a very good run-blocking offensive line. They're very bad at pass protection, but they're a good run-blocking offensive line. So yeah, he hasn't been efficient at all. He's just hovering right around 4 yards per carry. His rush EPA is mega negative. He's the exact same guy. So yeah, if you think he's going to have the same role with that same team, he's probably just fine next year. But I mean, that's all he's ever going to be, is just fine. But he can be productive. He's got double-digit touchdowns. So if that matters, he's a good option.
Do you agree?
I concur.
You concur. All right. We're knocking these out left and right tonight, but we got plenty to go through, so we are all good. What do we got next?
There we go. That's a spin.
Oh, so close to a good one. All right, let's finally do it. I feel like we've been waiting for this one to come up at some point. We had to do it. Travis Etienne, pull it up for me.
Yeah. So we kind of glossed over him when we were talking about Montgomery there, because he's at the end of that, but he's at the RB19. The guys going ahead of him: Tyrone Tracy, Jonathan Brooks, Derrick Henry, David Montgomery.
Same tier as before. Where did we see ETN out of it? Lowest? See the lowest possible person on this list?
Yes.
I think he honestly, and that's not even me talking shit. I'm dead ass serious. What prospect right now that you'd rather have? There's so many people I'd rather have other than Travis Etienne. I think you might have to scroll down to 30 before I start even considering it.
I mean, I was a hater coming into this year, and I was proven absolutely correct, because he's been a complete zero. I think he's just dust. His best case scenario is a committee back next year. So yeah, I'm completely out. No interest. But you're never going to be comfortable starting this guy.
The haters said I couldn't do it. Good call by the haters.
Good call by the haters.
That's Travis Etienne for sure. All right. So we're all out on Travis Etienne. It's the same thing.
That's right.
I'm even in on Najee as a free agent next year versus Travis Etienne, wherever he ends up. So, yeah, it's been a whole.
I hate DeAndre Swift, and I'd still rather have him than Etienne.
Amen to that. I totally agree.
Mm-hmm.
Totally agree. All right, let's pull this thing up. Go back to the wheel of destiny. That's so great. I'm sorry. All right. Destiny. Give me a good question. Oh, we're close. Oh! Hey! We did!
All right.
Top 3 favorite Christmas movie. All right. Dustin, you seem like a holly jolly kind of person. You start us off.
I have to name my top 3?
Yeah,
or just one 3. In my top 3?
Yeah.
All right. My top 3, no particular order. Die Hard.
That's so.
I'm a big fan of Christmas with the Cranks. And then I'm gonna say Home Alone. My top 3.
Did you just pick all the ones that are like free and are available on the streaming services right now? Because I watched Christmas with the Cranks already. I watched Die Hard for the first time this year, and Home Alone is on Disney Plus, and I watched Home Alone 2.
No, I think I own all 3 of those Christmas movies, so that's how much I enjoy them.
Classic. Those are pretty good ones. I really like Tim Allen in that one. I love Jamie Lee Curtis though, but Dan Aykroyd's almost in that movie seems like a little bit out of character. Like you could have gotten anyone to play that character. You probably didn't need Dan Aykroyd, but can't hate it. It's still a funny movie.
That's right. Joel, what about you?
This is a game of tiers. It's Christmas Vacation, Giant Drop Down, Elf, and then I don't care about anything else.
That's it.
There's 2 that matter. And that's it.
Christmas
Vacation may be the best movie of all time.
I like Christmas Vacation. I always pick comedies, and even like when I'm looking at like things to watch around the holiday season, like I've just watched Christmas Vacation probably. I can't say I've watched it too many times because I watch the same stuff every year and it never gets old. I just got tired of Christmas Vacation. I'm just not I like Three Amigos Chevy Chase over like Christmas Vacation Chevy Chase. So for me, I'm going Elf. Number 1 though is The Grinch with Jim Carrey, and then Fred Claus has really crept its way up there like recently. I love Vince Vaughn. Like the way that you probably view Chevy Chase is how I view Vince Vaughn. I love that movie. I love the heartfelt between the brothers in that movie. So those are probably my top 3. No animated stuff.
Good. No.
It's weird.
Nah,
no one dropped a Rudolph. No one dropped a Frosty.
Those aren't movies. Those are like TV specials. They don't count.
Okay, I guess that kind of matters. I keep looking for one.
Get into it,
like
but I have a real problem with Rudolph, so that will be on my never watch list.
I have a problem with Rudolph.
Is it a bullying movie or something?
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is.
Like a Santa,
but he's celebrated as a hero, but it's fine. Whatever.
Hey, if Santa knows what everyone's doing, then he knew that those reindeer were mean to Rudolph that whole time. So, and they still got picked.
You just let it happen.
That's right. Bad Santa. Bad Santa 2. All right, let's pull up the wheel and let's do another one. Go back to football this time.
I have a real problem with Rudolph.
I'm gonna clip that. That's like my favorite line.
Hey,
we got a good one.
Oh, that is a good one.
All right, Marvin
Harrison Jr.
I'm gonna.
Can you buy his jersey yet? Can you buy his jersey yet? I know he had that stuff with Fantrax, whatever it was.
Oh, Fanatics.
Fanatics. Yeah, that's it. Fanatics. I don't know whatever happened with that, whether you can buy a Harrison jersey or not. I don't know how many people are going to want a Harrison Jr. jersey this Christmas, but I don't know if you'd even have the opportunity to get one if you wanted one.
Yeah.
So let's look. Where's he at?
So he's currently wide receiver 6. So the 5 above him are Amon-Ra St. Brown, Malik Neighbors, CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, there's no one above him that I'd even consider taking him above. Who are the people below? That's probably more appropriate where we're looking.
Mm-hmm. So right below him, we've got Nico Collins, Garrett Wilson, AJ Brown, Puka Nacua, Drake London.
Okay. Joel?
What? Where the F is Brian Thomas Jr.?
He's got to be below Rome.
Yeah, he's wide receiver 14.
That's all right. All right. We're talking about Marvin Harrison. We're talking about Marvin Harrison, so let's keep it to Marvin Harrison. I think he's a screaming buy because, yeah, it looks like he's been a disappointment. He's been a disappointment relative to his draft position, to his expectations, to Brian Thomas Jr., to Malik Neighbors, who have been spectacular as rookies. He's still been good. Like, he's been good for a rookie.
Mhm.
Like, there's nothing here that says he's not going to produce. He's not going to be very, like, the catch rate is really bad, but like analytically, like the numbers, the metrics have been really good. So I have my problems with Kyler. We talked about him a couple of weeks ago, but I still think he's going to be very good. He's still super young too. So, yeah, I mean, I think he's just absolutely a screaming buy right now. If whoever drafted him is down on him.
Well, it's not me. I'll tell you that in our Club Fantasy Dynasty League, I am not down on him. But even right here, I'd probably still have to put Nico Collins above him.
I would put all those guys ahead of him, but I think big picture, I think he's someone I'm going to be out there hunting for this offseason.
Puka's even someone that like I'm looking at really hard on whether or not I would take Puka over Marvin, but
Puka's a stud. Of course you're taking him.
It's a dime a piece. But yeah, no, I understand the value dip. I probably wouldn't go any lower than Nico Collins for my rankings, but I understand where he's at right now.
I mean, if I can go out there and trade pretty much any pick in this draft for Marvin Harrison straight up, I'm doing it.
101?
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. He'd have been 102, 103 in most leagues last year. So, yeah, you kind of had to. He was
the first pick of the quarterback. So, and in a much better draft class.
What with a 101 would it take to consider for Marv? Another first?
I don't know if it would probably be a high second, but yeah, a late first, high second, something like that.
Okay. Good to know for all those people out there that they're not in love with 25 draft class. Start feeling out for some good young dynasty assets. Maybe you can flip it for one of those guys instead. All right. Anything else to add about Marv before we move on?
Nope.
All right. Let's do it. Oh, MVP talk. Let's do it. And it's even in the Philly green. Saquon Barkley.
Oh.
Who says dynasty landscape doesn't love aging running backs?
All right. So Saquon is currently RB5 in Dynasty. You've got Achane, Breece Hall, Gibbs, and Bijan Robinson all above him. Any issues with that? Those picks or those guys going above him, dynasty-wise?
Dynasty-wise, Joel, you go first, actually. I'll wrap up everything you leave me.
No, I think that's fair.
Probably.
The floor is yours.
All right. I guess so. I left everything for you. I thought you were going to take it and go with it. That's fine. Whatever. All right.
I pick Marv. I'll leave you Saquon.
Okay. So for me, I understand why Gibbs is so high. Bijan's right now RB1 for them, but I was going this year saying, all right, there's a real reason to say that CMC is the RB1 in Dynasty, even over Bijan, even over Gibbs, over Breece Hall, that with what CMC was giving you on a consistent level, how could you not say he's the Dynasty RB1? And everyone kind of couldn't say the same thing about Saquon because the new team, new situation, didn't know how he's going to be with Hurts and the Eagles offense, understandably. And now I'm at the point where we see Breece Hall drop off so much. Gibbs is cementing himself into being the RB1 this year, and like Bijan's got time on his side. But how could you not say that Saquon's at least RB3 right now over Breece Hall? Even with it as an aging asset. So I'm probably even a little higher on him. I'd probably still take him over Breece Hall and Devin Achane right now.
Yeah, I could see moving him up a spot, maybe here, switching him with a chain there, but moving him up past Brees Hall, I don't know if I'm confident enough to make that move quite yet, even with
I'm
the year
very
that
worried about
Barkley's
Hall.
having.
I am very worried about Brees Hall. I'm very worried about this Jets team in general, and I'm worried that they're just going to like burn up so much of Brees Hall that by the time that they even start getting pieces figured out, maybe they have to bring in someone else to be the complementary piece, and we lost all the good stuff of Brees Hall. So I'm a little worried. A little worried.
I think the big thing with Barkley is he stayed healthy this year, which is something like he's missed like 9 games the last 3 years, and that's since he tore his ACL in 2020. So he's been like constantly dinged up and missed a game here, missed a game there, missed a game here. So, but he stayed entirely healthy this year. So I think that's massively kind of rehabbed his value because like going into the year, you could have easily I think you could have got him for a first easily.
If Saquon has the same kind of health, it's not tenure, but that's the only word that's coming to mind right now. If he has the same kind of injury career with the Eagles, like CMC has with the 49ers now, like how he was with the versus how he was with the Panthers beforehand, that's the kind of turnaround you should be expecting with the Eagles right now for Saquon. When you're on bad teams and you don't have good offensive lines, you're constantly getting dinged up, you're constantly missing games, and now you have a weapon that if he's there for 13, 14 games of the year because he's available for you, how can you not say that guy's a dynasty top 3 asset, even at their current age? So I'm all in on Saquon for the long haul, and I'll run him into the ground because even if it's 3 years from now where Saquon finally drops off and we see some kind of big injury like we saw this year with CMC, I'm okay with that because we got enough out of Saquon in this current landscape that I'm cool with it. So
Yeah, isn't it amazing what a good offensive line can do for your production? Crazy.
amen. Best Eagles team in a long time. It's scary.
Mhm.
Watch out in the playoffs. All right, let's move on to another one. Do a few more before we get out of here. Get out of here. Get. All right. What do we got? Please don't be T. Higgins. Oh, no. Okay. What a good one. What a good one.
This one should be interesting.
Yeah, interesting is a nice way to put it, right? Interesting.
All right, Chris Olave on Dynasty Nerds is currently wide receiver 26. So he's had quite the fall off here. The 5 going right above him, you've got DJ Moore, Tyreek Hill, DK Metcalf, George Pickens, and Jalen Waddle. How do you stack him up in this kind of tier of wide receivers?
I don't want to say that because that's just going completely off brand for me. But I kind of want. I'm gonna have to write it out with Jalen Waddle right now. It's not sexy. I'm just gonna keep it on brand and say I'm gonna ride out with Waddle. I'll ride with the talent in this scenario over everything else. George Pickens situationally right now, you'd have to say you have to take him also over Chris Olave. But once you start asking about the 3 other guys and you start factoring things like age, maybe I could talk myself into Chris Olave over them. But the only reason why I'm really interested in Chris Olave is I know I don't have to make that move next year. I don't have to be the guy that jumps the gun on Chris Olave. No one's going to be doing it. So I know that Tyreek Hill is going to go before Chris Olave. I know that DJ Moore is going to go. I really only have to draft Chris Olave when Chris Olave is the top receiver on the board. And that's when I'm okay with doing it. So I don't really have to ask myself whether I would take him over these guys. It's more or less would I be comfortable taking him at that current position, and I think I'm in on that because I've always felt like he's just been way too overvalued in Dynasty. This is the tier that I'm okay with it.
So do you think in this tier, seeing how he's kind of you would have him, a little bit higher than Tyreek, DK, and DJ Moore. But if you're going off the rankings here, would you think that you'd be able to trade away one of those three guys and get Olave with a little like plus on top of it?
Sure.
Or is it really going to be just a lateral move?
Sure. If I was trying to get DJ Moore off one of my squads, I have DJ Moore in one that comes to mind right off the bat. And if I wanted to get Chris Olave for DJ Moore, I'd probably have to put a 2 on top of it just for the age gap. And as a seller, I wouldn't do it. But as a buyer, if I was selling Chris Olave, I would do that deal. But if I was buying, I wouldn't. If I'm drafting at that price and I don't have to trade away future assets for a guy like Chris Olave and I'm doing a startup, I'm buying Chris Olave at that price.
What are your thoughts, Joel?
I want to know what happened. I think Hoop brings up a really good point in that as much as I like Chris Olave as a player, he probably was overvalued. And this is just a much more palatable price, a much more palatable tier for him to be in. I'm really concerned about the concussions, but it sounds like, if the Saints had something to play for, he'd probably be back right now. He's not coming back this year. They have not. They're dead. So he's not coming. But I mean, what it seemed like going into the season, he should have been the platonic ideal for what a Clint Kubiak offense would want in a Z receiver. And it just didn't happen. I mean, he was averaging 5.5 targets a game. I mean, for a guy who had almost 140 targets last year, 120 as a rookie. I mean, what happened? Is he just completely incompatible in this offense? You can't say it was because of David Carr, because he played with David Carr last year and got targeted relentlessly. So, what happened? I don't know. I don't have an answer, but I think this is a much better price, and he's someone I'm probably interested in buying. If I've got a couple seconds and I don't like where the draft is kind of fallen this year, and I'm looking at a couple of guys that I don't really love, and I've probably got a running back heavy team, and I don't want to take in more running backs in the second round of this year's class, I think I'm probably just going to ship them off for Chris Olave and see what happens.
That's very fair. That's exactly where I'm at. Like, I don't want to have to give up 2 2s for Chris Olave. Where I'm at is if I can do like a Donnie Mitchell and a 2 for Chris Olave, I'll do that.
Yeah, sure.
That's
2 2s for Olave and a 3rd. How about that? And then get a flyer back.
Okay, it's kind of the same wheelhouse, but yeah, I think we're in the same ballpark here. Anything to add, Dusty?
No. I just I agree with you guys that he was probably way overvalued to start with, and now we're settling into where he's gonna kind of live probably for the rest of his career.
I don't see how he can, or how the Saints can go back with Derek Carr next year. Like, if they have to start with him to start the year, I understand, but they have to have a backup plan at quarterback. There's not many options in the draft, but they have to do something, because guys like Chris Olave, they're going to eventually just not want to play for the Saints when their quarterback is constantly putting them in positions to get hurt all the time like that. So it's going to come down to a point where the Saints have to move on from Derek Carr, just because the players around Derek Carr aren't going to want to play with him that badly for health reasons. So I'm more in on Olave because I feel like the future is getting brighter with the Saints.
I mean, honestly, if you want to get like really deep in the weeds, they may have to trade Chris Olave. Like, they're not going to have any, like, they need to just tear this team down to the studs, but they have so few options that give them any salary relief that, like, nobody's got any value. Nobody's got any trade value. So, like, they may have to trade Olave and try to get something to rebuild with for him. I mean, he's just one of their few marketable players.
Yeah, that's fair point too. Very fair point. Any team that misses out on the Chris Godwin sweepstakes Maybe they trade for Chris Olave instead. So
Mhm.
All right, let's do another two. Another two, you think?
Sure.
Okay, let's do it. Come on, holiday question. Look at that. We're not waiting until next year, are we? We're going to jump right into the freaking weeds. The CMC.
Well, I feel like this can be just a real good primer. How about that for a further discussion in the off season?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't even know where to start with this right now.
All right, CMC's in the same tier we've kind of been talking about all night here with David Montgomery, Joe Mixon. He's kind of right in the middle there at RB14. So he's got Kamara, Bucky Irving, Mixon, Jacobs, Cook all above him, with the aforementioned David Montgomery immediately below him.
It's just
Let's get into it.
Okay.
It just seems wrong.
I know.
Like I would much. I sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I would much rather him over Kamara. I'd rather have him over Bucky. I'd way rather have him over Mixon. Jacobs is probably close. I think I'd much rather have CMC over Cook. Like I don't trust this touchdown stuff. I mean, this guy had like 2 touchdowns last year. Now he's got a dozen. We're supposed to believe that. It just feels way too low for McCaffrey. Like give him an offseason. Like I honestly think a lot of his injury issues were because the Niners have played so many games the last few years. Like they've made the Super Bowl a couple times. They've made deep playoff runs basically every year. That adds up. That's like an extra season worth of games that he's played over the last 2-3 years. So I think that's had a lot to do with it. They're not going to make the playoffs this year. He's going to have a full off season and rest. I think he's even back at full speed. I don't buy this nonsense about a team's trading for Kyle Shanahan. He's going to be back. Mm-hmm. I think he should be at the top of this of the list that's on the screen easily.
Like I want to. That's where my heart is saying CMC, screw everyone else, but also knowing the gamble on what it's gonna take. Like, oh, that's really tough. Like all these guys right here, like at least Jacobs and Mixon, and I said earlier I'd probably take Montgomery over CMC, but you're talking me more back into it a little bit. I can't do it over Jacobs for sure. Everyone else, it's going to come down to draft day and do a feeler for that, because you may not be in on Kyle Shanahan getting traded. Even as a fan of the team, I'm coming around to the idea, just because we do need to switch things up. And if there was a situation where he did get traded, where does that lead CMC? Like, where does this team go, like, with all these weapons around it and no one really to orchestrate the rest of the circus? So what does that do with CMC? Does that mean they like give him the ball more, and then they really run him into the ground and trade Debo? Maybe that brings him up confidently into the top 10, but the 49ers in general just have such a big question mark for me right now in general. What's going to happen, how this team's going to be looking in 2025. I can't give you a good enough answer on CMC to tell you whether to invest or not.
Yeah, I think that if you are a contender, that I think this is a guy you should be going after, especially if his value is this depressed. I agree with Joel that I think he's going to come back next year healthy. They have no reason to bring him back this year and play him at all if he wanted to. And yeah, he'll come back healthy, refreshed in the training camp next summer, and I think he'll be just fine. Even if we get 80% of what he has been, that's still a hell of a lot better than a lot of these guys on the screen here that we're looking at. So I think he's a great trade opportunity here for the offseason.
All right, let's do one more then. End out the season on a banger. Hopefully it's someone good, and it's not like Jatavian Sanders or anything like that. But
Jatavian Sanders.
Hey, he's on here. I know he is. I put him on here for a reason. So let's do it. Let's go out through it one more and end on a high note, hopefully. All right, let's do it. Give me a good one. Give me a good one. That's not a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. If we would have ended on Evan Ingram, I would have honestly just left the show at that point. We wouldn't even re-sign. We were just done. TJ Hawkinson to end out the season. What a great season, honestly. We've had some great ones. I had a question on here on the wheel that was like, what was your favorite show of the year on TradeBlocked? What was your like favorite athlete to break down? And I'm like, personally, mine was episode 1, JSN, but we've had some really good players over the whole entire year. So yeah. All right. Another one. Hawkinson,
right.
where are we at?
Hawkinson. He is currently tight end 5 on Dynasty Nerds. So he's got Kincaid, Laporta, McBride, and Bowers all above him. Any issues with the 4 going right above Hawkinson here?
Kincaid for sure.
Absolutely.
Hawkins is just a much better football player than Dalton Kincaid. It's not even close.
There's no way you can have Kincaid over Hawkinson right now. The argument I'll make, and I know there's going to be people out there that are going to argue with me on this, but it's true, is that even last year, TJ Hawkinson was on the path to being the tight end 1 in Dynasty. And then before he got hurt, then Sam Laporta comes in, finishes tight end 1 with youth on his side as a rookie, finishing as tight end 1. He automatically gets cemented as tight end 1. But when you see the tight end drop off and he's like finishing as like tight end, 16 right now? I don't even know what it is, but he's very far out of the top 12. And you see like that drop off. I'm not worried about TJ Hawkinson like that long term, whatever offense he's in. I know that that he's going to be a focal point in any offense he's in. So TJ Hawkinson is someone I still got to have him at least as my tight end 3 right now, or tight end 4, because I can't forget about my guy Tucker Kraft. So
yeah, I think we're all in agreement there that Kincaid is really the one big outlier going above him. But let's look at the 5 guys going below, see if there's anyone you might want to put up there other than Tucker Kraft, who is at tight end 8 there. But right below him, you got George Kittle, Kyle Pitts, Tucker Kraft, Mark Andrews, and David Njoku.
Well, taking Hawkinson over all those guys easily
over Kraft.
Yeah,
over Kraft.
As much as I like Tucker Kraft, I mean he's part of the Packers offense, and he's going to suffer the same problems that Dontavian Wicks and Romeo Dobbs and Jaden Reed and Christian Watson have, and that there's going to be games where they're going to take zeros because the other guy or guys go off and they just don't get targets, or they just only throw the ball 18 times and there's just not enough volume to go around. That's Hawkinson is always going to be like, I had zero expectation for Hawkinson's here. The multi-ligament injury happened on Christmas week. So yeah, I didn't expect anything. So the fact that he's back and playing and taking full-time snaps already, I think that's a huge win. So I think he pops right back to the top of he's probably still behind McBride, and he's definitely behind Bowers, but I think he pops right back into the top of that next tier.
Here's my question. Whatever happened to loyalty? Why am I the guy that has to defend Tucker Kraft on a regular basis being a tight end 2?
I love Tucker Kraft.
It shouldn't be me. It shouldn't be me.
I love all the Packers. I don't love them for fantasy because what you said. Like there's just we've seen it the last couple of weeks. I mean, what is Love averaging? Like 22 passes a week? There's just not enough pass volume right now. And I don't think that's going to change as long as Josh Jacobs is there.
See, Love is good because on the good days and the bad days, you have to appreciate Love, and that's
for sure.
That's the Packers. That's the Packers team. If you love the Packers, you got to appreciate it for the good, the bad. And
I love the Packers. I don't love them for fantasy, and we've seen why.
Yes, but what a great season! What a great episode to finish off the season. Thank you guys so much. This was such a fun year. Fun little thing that we decided to try out with TradeBlocked, however many months ago. and we're excited to roll out into season 2 in the near future. So with that, we're going to be doing some written content. I have committed to doing a written series with TradeBlocked going into next year, where all the trades that we break down at the end of the show normally, I'm going to do that a part of a written series. So all the people that don't have time to run through 30 minutes of our trades, you guys can read through a written article with some trade ideas out there. And we got so much good content coming at you guys over here at Club Fantasy, regardless of whether we're going to be here in the
meeting. We got a question before we go.
Oh, we do.
Question. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me wrap this up real quick. We got draft content coming out. We got rookie profiles coming at you from the Dynasty team over here. We got so much. So even though we won't be here from the near future, don't think that you guys can't reach out to us at FF Dusty Dog at B Sky Social, HoofTube at B Sky Social, and at the Joel Worth, also at the Joel Worth B Sky Social. So make sure you go ahead and hit us up with your Dynasty questions year round, because that's what we're here for. We're here to help, baby. So, but let's go to the question.
Yeah. So this comes from Discord, from Bang and Play. Should I start Kamara, Cook, or the Niners running back this week?
I don't think Kamara's even playing. He's got the groin injury, so he's probably being limited even if he does. I think that they may shut him down. I probably pretty easily James Cook against the Patriots, right?
Mm-hmm. That's where I'm at. I would have, if Kamara played, I would probably be kicking her around a lot more. But even I'm in the only league that I have Kamara in is my work league, and I got eliminated because I played against Amon-Ra and Devontae Adams last week.
Oof.
And yeah, it was tough. I was playing against my boss, and he absolutely kicked the shit out of me. He had the biggest grin walking into work on Monday, and I just wanted to just give him one, but that's okay. And so in that league with Kamara, he was in my flex spot. And so I was like really, really worried about if I won last week, what I was going to do in replace of him. And I'm like, I picked up Kendra Miller and Pros with Joe's just in case I needed an extra flex spot. So I'm starting to see, maybe Kendra Miller does kind of take over a little bit in that Saints backfield. So I'm probably in with Cook this week.
Mm-hmm. Same. Got the trifecta there. So Bang and Play. Hopefully we answered your question, and we help you proceed in the playoffs here this week. Yes. Before we head out, though, you've seen us referencing our partners over at Dynasty Nerds all evening long, and we would be remiss if we didn't give them a full shout out here, because they do a lot of great things. As you saw there, the GM tools there, they had all the stuff with trade analyzers and values. So make sure you go check out our partners over at Dynasty Nerds. They have the Nerd Score, which helps identify rookies. Their film room is incredible, second to none, with all the incoming rookies. The trade calculator, as you saw, we were working with their GM tool. You can do your own dynasty rankings. They allow you to do it whether it's one QB league, standard, tight end premium, super flex, however you want to do it. You can rank your players however you want, or you can use their dynasty rankings. So you should choose. Totally customizable for whatever you want. Lots of great content there. So make sure you're going over and checking out Dynasty Nerds. Sign up for one of their subscription plans and enter the code Club Fantasy, and you get to save 15% off your subscription. So make sure you go and check them out. Even if you don't sign up, use their free tools, because what they have available just that's not behind a paywall is still just top notch and incredible. So make sure you're going checking out our partners there over at Dynasty Nerds, because they got a lot of great content over there.
And the film room by itself is worth the $5 a month.
Yeah,
easily.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And before we officially sign off here for the 2024 calendar year here, got to let you know about all the other shows on the Club Fantasy Network here. to keep you up to date with anything and everything you could possibly want fantasy related. So on Tuesday mornings, you've got Wiretapped with Ryan and Josh. Tuesday evenings, you continue to join us with TradeBlocked. On Wednesdays, you got No Pun Intended with Joe, Josh, and Ryan. Also on Wednesday evenings, Cleat Dreams. It's a weekly preview of the Women of Fantasy Football podcast. On Thursday, you got Oh Captain, My Captain with Josh and Austin. Also on Thursdays, you've got the Sneaky Flex with Wendy and the Sneaky Girls. Also Thursday, you got the Trifecta, the Dynasty After Party. And on Friday, you got the DFS Academy. On Saturday, Start Sit Different Day with Josh and Joe, and usually a special co-host answering all the Start Sit questions you have. And on Monday, you have Monday's Hangxiety. Great recap for the week before. So make sure you're going out and checking out all those shows under the Club Fantasy banner. Lots of great content there. And we've got a great defense question here, boys, before we sign off for sure. Falcons, Cardinals, Bengals, or Bills defense this week?
Bengals get to play against DTR. That's a smash.
There's like a 20, I think I read that there's like a 22% chance that between the Bengals, the Colts, and another team that's looking on the outside to make the playoffs right now. And even though it's not likely, the Bengals are still, in a sense, in the playoff hunt. So they're going to be playing. They're still alive. So they're going to be playing hard. They're going to be playing against ETR. So yeah, you probably have to go with the Bengals here. But that's where I'm at. Happy holidays to everyone here under the Club Fantasy umbrella. To everyone out there, happy holidays, however you celebrate. And we will see you in the spring.
Couldn't have said that better myself.
That's right.